Welcome to The Explainer. You know, if you've ever felt like promoting your music is literally just shouting into a dark algorithmic void, well, you're definitely not alone. It's tough out there. But today, we're going to demystify the grind. We're breaking down a highly tactical 60-day blueprint to launch a song in the 2026 landscape. And the best part, we're going to do it without completely burning yourself out. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our 60-day blueprint. We'll start with Phase 1, the foundation. Then move into building what we call your content circus tent. After that, we'll break down executing the first 30 days. And finally, wrap up with sustaining the momentum. All right, Section 1, the foundation. This is all about pre-release preparation and timing.
So winning this 60-day cycle actually begins months before release day. And right off the bat, we have to challenge a massive industry norm. I call it the Friday release myth. Now, for years, we've been taught to drop music on Fridays, right? But honestly, that just floods the zone alongside major label artists. It completely buries your release because listeners are too busy trying to catch up on their favorite big-name drops. Instead, you've got to leverage the Tuesday advantage. Releasing your music midweek gives you 4 totally uninterrupted weekdays to break through and gather those crucial early streams before listeners inevitably tune out for the weekend. It's a real game changer.
Now, to pull this off effectively, you really need a survival mechanism, and that is a 6-month prepared asset arsenal. We're talking about having all this ready well in advance. You'll need at least 2 mastered songs, 2 minimum viable videos, 1 lyric video or visualizer, 1 full-fledged music video, and a super deep folder of B-roll and art photos just ready to go. Batching this content beforehand, it isn't just helpful, it is an absolutely crucial necessity. You might be wondering, why go crazy with all this prep? Well, because real life happens. The harsh reality is, while you might lay in bed depressed from a terrible week, or even on the flip side, totally overwhelmed by a sudden flood of comments from a viral hit, you are still ahead of your promotions. Having these assets ready literally saves your entire campaign. Plus, it just makes you look like an artist who takes themselves seriously, you know? You're maintaining this constant momentum no matter what is going on off camera. Moving on to Phase 2, the content circus tent. We're going to look at structuring your short-form videos. But before we build that tent, we really need to talk about the MVV, or the minimum viable video. Forget about those massive upfront music video budgets for a second. In the 2026 landscape, an MVV is basically just a low-motion, super easily produced video designed to provide just enough visual stimulation to retain viewers. Because let's face it, attention spans are basically broken on day one. Think maybe 5 rotating pictures, or just a looped slice of party footage with some lyrics slapped on. Just enough visual motion to make someone stop scrolling. That's it. Okay, so think of your overall content strategy like a giant circus tent. It's a great analogy. First, you've got your massive center poles. These are the compelling, high-performing narratives and stories around your new and old songs. These are what draw strangers in from a distance, right? They form the highest peaks of your engagement. Next, you have your entrance poles right at the front of the tent. These are audience-finding videos, maybe outside influence from fan accounts, and high-production chop-downs. Their job is to tell the algorithm who your fans actually are and aid in discovery. Finally, you have the back of the tent. This holds your behind-the-scenes footage, your user-generated content, disguised announcements, basically stuff that nurtures the existing fans who are already inside enjoying the show. But here's the catch. If your supporting poles start outperforming those big center poles, the whole structure kind of collapses. People just get confused about what your page is actually about. So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Artist identity is always greater than senseless trends. The biggest shift in music marketing right now is that you can't just blindly copy what everyone else is doing. It just doesn't work anymore. True thumb-stopping content comes from translating a trend into your own unique perspective. You always have to be asking yourself, how do I flip this trend to make it undeniably me as an artist?
All right, let's shift to Section 3, executing the first 30 days. This is the daily tactical grind.
I want you to really let this number sink in for a second. 30 to 60. That is the hard truth of the industry right now. That is the massive volume of short-form videos required over your 60-day campaign to actually cut through all that algorithmic noise and break a song today. We're not just dropping a song and hoping to get lucky anymore. We are meticulously placing small rocks every single day to eventually build this huge mountain of attention. Now, to keep you from burning out from that intense daily volume, you need a major drop map. Let's look at the timeline. Day 1, that's your song and your MVV release. 2 weeks later, on day 15, boom, you drop your lyric video. Day 29 is the heavy hitter. That's your full production music video drop. And then by day 43, you're dropping an alternate version or maybe making a major strategic pivot. Having these big anchors spaced out like this makes that daily posting grind feel so much more manageable.
Let's zoom in on day 1 for a second. This is the midnight release protocol. Notice something missing? We are completely skipping that vague 14-day teaser campaign. Honestly, that's a myth that actually hurts smaller artists. Instead, you want to follow these exact steps. Step 1. Use tools like Tribly or Lalo pre-release to trade little previews of the song for actual phone numbers and emails. Step 2. When the song drops at midnight, text or email that core audience immediately to drive instant, repeated listening. This is super clever because it purposely spikes your Spotify popularity score right out of the gate. You're basically forcing editorial playlists and the algorithm to sit up and pay attention to you.
But what about beyond launch day? Well, you need some strict weekly growth habits. You've got to keep a steady drumbeat. Post at least one Instagram story daily. Every single Friday, update a curated Spotify artist playlist. This builds those crucial algorithmic bridges with similar artists. You also need to continually cycle through your 4 core short-form video themes just to test what really sticks. And please, remember this, never ever post a boring concert flyer. Always disguise your announcements with an engaging content. And don't forget to post vulnerable, storytelling Instagram grid carousels. That's what deepens the fan connection and actually gets people talking down in the comments.
And here is a massive paradigm shift you have to wrap your head around. We exist in a For You page world now. For the first time in social media history, you are actually talking to strangers way more than your actual followers. Crazy, right? Because of this, your day 1 videos and your main center polls absolutely must provide full context for total strangers. You have to assume they know absolutely nothing about you. Save the deep lore and the inside jokes for those followers who are already hanging out in the back of your tent. All right, let's bring it home with Section 4, Sustaining the Momentum. This is the pivot, covering days 31 to 60.
So right after your official music video drops in month 2, you really have to prepare for a pivot. Now you actually set this up a bit earlier on day 15 by reviewing your hard engagement and stream data. Look, if your new song is struggling, do not panic. Just cycle in some short-form videos featuring your successful older catalog songs. It wakes up the algorithm. Actually, scratch that. It's more like giving the algorithm a double shot of espresso. Often, old songs are literally the absolute best promotional tool for a struggling new release. But here's the really wild part. If your new track is booming, delay your next single. Seriously, pour all your energy into riding that current wave instead of accidentally cutting your own momentum short. Once you hit month 2, it's all about pouring gasoline on the fire with some advanced tactics. You want to capitalize heavily on user-generated content, or UGC. Start stitching and duetting your fans. Host Instagram Lives with your video directors or your collaborators so you can swap audiences. Launch open verse challenges. Those are incredible for sparking TikTok duets and getting fans interacting directly with your hook. You should also test posting at extreme hours. Try early morning or late night weekends when people are just scrolling alone and vibing. And finally, make the call on whether to drop a remix or an alternate version. It's a great way to breathe totally new life into the track. Which brings us to one final pretty provocative question. Is your next single actually ready, or are you just hoping to get lucky? Think about it. In 2026, breaking a song is not a lottery ticket. It is a structural endurance test. But by using this blueprint, by prepping your 6-month asset arsenal, structuring your content tentpoles, and rigorously executing the 60-day timeline, you're completely removing luck from the equation. You're relying on a proven system. So, thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this strategy empowers you to go out there and launch your next track with absolute confidence.